Amazing grace, how sweet is the sound that saved a wretch like me.
That voice you just heard was that of Minneapolis City Council Vice President Andrea Jenkins. She joins me now. Excuse me, Miss Jenkins, it's just that your voice, that song, just everything that's been happening. You represent the neighborhood where this incident took place. You have said that George Floyd's death felt like a symbol, quote, for a knee on the neck of Black America. Thank you so much for joining me today. Can you just talk about how this death has impacted the community you represent and you personally?
Good afternoon, Brooke, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of this conversation. Before I speak on your questions, I do want to publicly offer my own deep, sincere condolences, sympathies, apologies to the family of George Floyd. What a tragic, traumatic incident to happen to our city, to my community, to our nation at a time when we are dealing with this terrible coronavirus. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and unfortunately, we have two viruses that we have to deal with in America, and that is the coronavirus, as well as the virus of racism that has infected our entire society for far too long. The people in my community are pained, are traumatized. We have had so many high profile hashtag moments in the city of Minneapolis, from Philando Castile to Jamar Clark, Terrence Franklin, and Thurman Blevins, and of course Justine Damon, who we cannot forget. And we saw justice in that case. We saw justice for Justine. We absolutely must see justice for George. That is what community is seeking. That is what community is asking for. And the violence, I do not condone the looting and the violence. I do fully understand the outrage that people are expressing.
How would you, there are so many emotions as I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm having my own, I'm surprised at my own emotions on TV with you, but I've just, as a white woman, aware of my own privilege in this country, I am so angry. And I can't even begin. Forgive me.
No, it's a human emotion, Brooke, and I think what sparks so much outrage is that there seemed to be no regard for humanity or for human life in the video that we all witnessed. The officer sat there with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for an unbearable amount of time, almost 10 minutes. That is unconscionable. And he had a smirk on his face and his hands in his pockets like he was totally relaxed. And I think that that lack of humanity, that lack of respect for Black life is what has enraged so many people in this instance.
You talk about these high-profile, deaths and hashtag moments, and describing, George Floyd's death there. And, we know the mayor we know the officers have been fired. I'm just thinking of justice, Andrea, and I'm just wondering from your perspective, as you represent this corner in this city, what justice looks like for you in this community.
Right. So, I very early on, very publicly called for the firing of the 4 officers. And so I'm glad that the mayor and the police chief responded to those requests and did the right thing. But justice won't be served until these officers have been charged. That is what people charged and arrested. And so that is what people are calling for. That is what will, I believe, calm the
gathering.
The gatherings, the rallies, the protests, the riots. I mean, because at some point last night, what was a peaceful protest that I participated in became a riot. And so I do not condone that in any way whatsoever. However, again, I do understand the frustration. And the only thing I think is going to help us to resolve and bring down the temperature in this situation is if our county attorney, Mike Freeman, does the right thing and presses criminal charges against what we all witnessed, a crime on that video.
I think so many Americans they've watched what happened in Central Park. They've seen what happened in Minneapolis. They saw what happened in Georgia. And, Lord knows the years, right? This is just...
Don't forget the young lady, hashtag say her name,
yes,
that was murdered in her bed.
Yes. And my question, Andrea, is what... I'm getting a lot of incoming just messages from, white viewers who are enraged, who don't know what to do with their emotion. And so as you talk about how, you call a cancer, it's a disease in order to cure it, and the same as I heard you say earlier with regard to racism in this country, what do you want to tell white America about what they can do, not just to listen, but to act?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Brooke. And, I wish I had all the smart answers to provide to white people. A, stop killing us. B, give Black people opportunities to live full, healthy lives. That means access to employment. That means access to safe and affordable health care. That means access to safe and affordable housing. We are in the midst of a pandemic right now, and we need to see resources going to the most vulnerable people. We've already identified who the most vulnerable people are. However, nobody is providing those kinds of resources. There's no testing. There's no drive-up testing in my community. There's no PPE in my community. We need the federal government to be providing resources to cities and states. And we need white America to be calling on these resources in these underinvested communities, these over-policed communities. We need white people to stop perpetuating the system of racism. And I'm not calling any one person a racist, but I do know that people who benefit from it are the only people who can end it.
It's a tough conversation. It's a necessary conversation. Andrea Jenkins, thank you.